What does it take to win the 2026 Eurovision Song Contest? Let me explain. Hi, my name is Steven, and welcome to another episode of 12 Points Deep Dive, your Eurovision podcast providing you the stats, analysis, patterns, and points. So, what does it mean and what does it take to win the 2026 Eurovision Song Contest? Well, on my last episode, I mentioned of how the model has predicted as of April 6th that Finland will win with 387 points, and how I really disagree with that projection. Here's why. First, since the new voting system came into place in 2016, no Eurovision winner has won less than 436 points. That happens to be last year's winner, JJ, with Wasted Love. Jamala won in 2016 with 534, Salvador Sobral with 758, Netta with 529, Duncan Lawrence with 498, Måneskin with 524, Kalush Orchestra with 631, Lorraine with 583, and Nemo with 591. So let's dive a little deeper. The number of participating countries vary year over year. 2016 and 2017 had 42 countries, 2018 had 43, 2019 41, 2021 39, 2022 40, and 2023 to 2025 had 37. And for this year, we have 35, the lowest number since the semifinals were introduced in 2004. And in 2023, the introduction of the rest of the world in the televote gave the televote a slightly bigger weight than the juries. So, therefore, the maximum points to get for a single country varies over the past 10 years. So, with that, let's convert these points of each of these winners into percentages to shed further light. This is simply done by taking their points and dividing it by the maximum points one can possibly get for each of those years. And as you could see, all the winners scored at least 50% or above to win the contest. Jamala, 54%. Salvador, 77%. Netta and Duncan Lawrence with 52%. Måneskin, 57%. Kalush Orchestra, Lorraine, and Nemo, 67%, and then JJ with roughly 50%. And this year, with 35 countries and the rest of the world in the televote, that means the maximum points available for a country is the sum of 34 juries times 12 plus 34 countries and rest of world times 12, and you get 828. So if you take 50% of 828, that is 414. So in this year's contest, when those televote results are being presented, I am watching intently on who crosses over 414 points, which I call winner territory. So does 414 points guarantee you the win? Nope. So this is a chart showing you the first, second, third, fourth, and fifth place finishers from 2016 to 2025, and what each of them got as a percentage of the vote. First, as you can see, the winner at least gets 50%. But you can see there are frequent occasions where the runner-up gets over 50%, and at times over 60%, like Karia in 2023, Baby Lasagna in 2024, and Christian Kostov in 2017. And 2024 was such an odd year where the top four all exceeded 50% because the coalescing of the televote points to just those few countries. And you have Sergei Lazarov in 2016 getting 50% in third place because he dominated that televote in 2016. So, to be cautious, don't get too excited if you see the moment the country crosses over 414 points. They may have won, but it's no guarantee. However, if you see that final split screen in that televote sequence where the current scoreboard leader does not have over 50% of the possible points, in this case 414 points, then the jury winner has most likely won that contest. So first, I'm sorry for spoiling your viewing experience this year. Now, just watch, the Eurovision organizers will probably change the rules now. So, another important point. Your placement in the juries and the televote also matter. Generally, if you win One, you must place around fourth or better in the other to win the contest. As shown here in 2009, 10, 12, 13, 14, and 17, the winner won both the juries and the televote. In 2011, Azerbaijan got second in the juries, but first in the televote. In 2015, Sweden got first in the juries, but third in the televote. And in 2016, Ukraine got second in both, and therefore not winning either of them. In 2018, Israel got third in the juries, but first in the televote. And in 2019, another case here where the Netherlands did not win either, third in the juries, second in the televote. And then in 2021 and 2022, Italy and Ukraine got fourth in the juries and first in the televote. And then in 2023, Sweden got first in the juries, but second in the televote. And then we get into 2024, Switzerland got first in the juries, but fifth in the televote. And just note here, there was just a 1 point difference between fifth place in the televote and fourth place in the televote. And then last year, Austria got first in the juries, but fourth in the televote. So, as you watch those jury results, by the time all the jury points have been delivered, the jury top four will likely be the most viable ones to win the contest. And that's just backed by 16 years of data. But lastly, to every Eurovision fan's acknowledgement, the juries really influenced the outcome for the past 3 years. Here's a breakdown of each winner's total points, broken down by jury and televote points, and the percentage of the total points attributed to the juries and the televote. As you could see, Sweden got 58% of their total points from the juries in 2023, Switzerland in 2024 got 62%, and Austria in 2025 with 59%. But it's important to note that when the televote really influenced the outcome, it was as equally, if not slightly more potent. Israel in 2018 with 60% of their total points came from the televote. Italy in 2021 with 61%, and Ukraine in 2022 with 71%. But honestly speaking here, it's hard to really see this year's televote winner actually being the overall winner. When it comes to top 10 televote finishes in this decade, Italy and Ukraine are 5 for 5. And then Poland, Greece, Sweden, Finland, and Israel, 3 for 5. And then you have countries like Italy, Ukraine, Sweden, and Israel having a strong base of televote support. I have already predicted that these countries won't win the contest, so that means they will take a good share of the televote, with Israel potentially winning the televote again, but not winning the contest overall. That in itself likely increases the power of the juries. But could reducing the maximum number of votes per payment method from 20 to 10 affect those trends? Yes. But honestly, we won't know how until we get through this year's contest. So for me, there's 2 likely outcomes for 2026. One, like 2023, 2024, and 2025, it will continue the pattern where the jury winner will likely win the contest as long as they finish fourth in the televote. Or 2, huge discrepancies between the juries and the televote could result in a 2016 and 19 situation where the eventual winner neither wins the juries nor the televote. So could we be surprised? Maybe. So I've already predicted that the winner will either be Finland, France, Denmark, Australia, or Greece. So my next 2 episodes will cover what's the best path for victory for Australia and France, and then for Finland, Denmark, and Greece. Like, subscribe, and support this channel, and stay tuned for more.